Welcome back to the National Indoor Sports Gymnasium here in the heart of Hanoi, the capital city of Vietnam. It's the Mansion Sports Hanoi Open Pool Championship. And when the draw for the last 64 was made last night, this is one of those that jumped out and you thought this could be a real cracker. It is Shane Van Boening against Mickey Krause, both of whom have won big matchroom events this year. Mickey Krause, the European Open champion in early August, the lone representative of Denmark in the last 64, up against Shane Van Boening, Premier League pool champion much earlier in the year, and so close to capturing his record 6th US Open title a few weeks back before being denied by Fedor Gorst in the final. And if you're just joining us, the big news is what happened to Fedor Gorst. At 5-5 with James Aranas, Gorst conceded because he was feeling unwell.
ちょっとだけ痛くてもてっぺんをふさふさにしたい男性を探しています。私たち AGA スキンクリニックでは赤字覚悟の最終手段として医学論文でも認められた発毛治療薬を980円で試せるモニター様を募集していたのですが、予想以上の申し込みをいただき予約枠がほとんど埋まってしまいました。そこでこの動画はまだ予約枠が空いている地域にのみ配信を限定させていただきます。この動画からご予約いただくと医療の力で薄毛をふさふさにできる発毛治療薬が980円でお試しいただけます。治療データを集めるためのモニター価格なので追加料金も一切ございません。カウンセリングや頭皮検査なども全て無料です。ただ注意点が一つだけございます。こちらの980円で髪を生やせるモニター募集は残りの予約枠が埋まり次第即終了。こちらのモニター募集も二度と行わない可能性がございます。980円で生え際やてっぺんをふさふさにしたい男性は詳細ボタンから今すぐ予約状況だけでも確認してみてください。
Hard to pick a winner here. I think any time he queues up, pretty much, Van Boening would be regarded as a favourite. But there's no doubt that Krause has had a breakthrough year, a breakout year. And he's a very different proposition now to what he was 12 months ago. He's got that imperceptible asset that all sportsmen crave: confidence. Not been the smoothest path here for Krause. The road has been a little rocky, but now he's into single elimination. Never discount his chances, never, against anyone these days. And of course for him, Mosconi Cup inclusion is very close. And here, winning the first rack is close. What a stylish way to get the match underway. There is a shot clock on the main match table, of course. You might have heard the official there calling extension. But the opening rack is not extended. In fact, it's over very quickly. Very good from Krause. Very good indeed. He'll want to continue in that vein. If he does so, regardless of his huge career accomplishments, Shane Van Boening will have quite a few problems. A break and run out straight off the bat. Superb pot on the 2 from distance, then the bank on the 3, and after that it was, well, relatively plain sailing. The last 64 matches still going on. Claudio Cacci 7-5 up on Antonius Kakaris. Robbie Capito on the hill against Lin Shikai 9-4. Jason Shaw's involved in a real tussle now with Landon Hollingsworth. Shaw bounced into a big lead early on, but now it's only a slender lead at 8-7. A rather jazzy cue shaft that Mickey Krause uses. He's breaking nicely. But the end position of the 2 does him no favours. Had the 2 been on the way the rest of the balls are, the second rack might well have gone the way of the first. Kopin Yi is through 10-2 over Max Eberle, and Nguyen Van Hoen of Vietnam on the hill against Ismail Kadir at 9-5.
Yeah, a little draw stroke here. Just going to contact the 8 a little bit. Shouldn't be hard though. Ooh, he caught it much thinner than I think he expected. Now he's got to kind of make a decision coming across. Do you draw between the 8 and 9 back out to the center? Looks like he's trying to come forward, maybe 2 rails into the 8. Okay, just floating short of the 8. Could make it a hair awkward here. I'm sure you've been keeping everyone up to date, but this match is really tightening up in that first round.
Well, Yersin Kamayas had a massive lead over Fu Jianbo. Now it's only 9-8. And I talked just before you arrived back, Jeremy, about Jason Shaw being put through his paces by Landon Hollingsworth.
Yeah, for sure. And now off the mark there on that shot. You could see as soon as he hit it, he was very concerned about the cue ball. And I don't think he can attack here. Watch out, cue ball. Should be okay. And he's always so good with the bare ball safety. It's, you know, one thing when you have a group or a lot of things that are easy, but that's all touch and, of course, some experience.
It's also attitude, because when you foul up on a positional shot and you lose shape when you really should get it, sometimes players get annoyed and it leaks into the next shot.
No. No. Even better for Mickey Krause. It's going to be the kick shot from behind the black 8. Now, what Mickey did really well also there is this kick shot becomes a lot more difficult when the cue ball's on the rail. You don't quite get as much spin you might take because you're hitting the very top half of the cue ball, so you got to judge it a little bit better. All about the speed. I think this is going to bounce up a little bit, and certainly a playable shot, even though not easy. All right, you got to disregard the cue ball a little bit. No natural scratches that I see. So with the 9 pretty open in the middle, all about making this ball. And, you know, if something unfortunate happens like this, it's just something you're going to take. And it's always amazing that one extra game, that race to 10, it always seems to make it to where there's a lot more of a 2-part match. It seems, at least mentally for these players, they don't mind the 4-game deficit, the 3-game deficit, even when nearing the end.
Much like rack 1, Krause calling his extension on the 9. How about that? What a thin cut that was. Superb stuff from Mickey Krause. It really should have been 1-1, but the shape failed for Van Boning on the 8. And after a really good safety shot from Krause, indirectly benefiting with 8 and 9 there. So the Dane, the great Dane, 2-0 up.
Yes, he is, and here's the mistake. I don't think it was enough speed drawing the ball to go by the 8 and back up anyways, so just got away from him. Again, a great shot there from Mickey, though, to keep the pressure on. And Phil's going to give us some scores.
Some results. We talked about Mickey Krause being a youngster who's had a breakout year. The same could be said for Robbie Capito, the UK Open champion from Hong Kong. He's through 10-4 over Lin Shikai. And Jerson Kamayas has staved off that spirited fight back from Fu Jianbo to win 10-8. Win Kong Than and Jeffrey Ignacio hill at 9-9. And Jason Shaw on the hill, 9-7 now over Landon Hollingsworth.
Yeah, not quite the connection we're used to seeing. Did get the 1 down, but you could see the balls didn't quite spread. So didn't have to get snookered. It'll be a push out most likely. You could go for the jump, but you want to go for a jump whenever you have some type of future position, and I don't see that getting to the red 3 with the short cue. right, even though there is a crossover bank here, and I don't think it's really makeable, but that's the shot you'll play for a safety. Shane gave this back pretty easily. Oh, he's going to bang this around. This is an interesting play. He could cross this over coming up the right side. Yeah, I was wondering about that. And the main thing is not to shoot that shot, but just to get down on it so quickly and not really survey some other options. Now, I sat with Shane this morning at breakfast for a little bit. And of course, I didn't tell him this, but he looked a little more groggy than I'm used to seeing from him in the mornings. He's an early riser and usually one of the first down.
待って、まだスゴ入れてないの？スゴは誰でも簡単に友達ができる紙アプリなんだけど、音声通話とビデオ通話が
Usually one of the first down to the breakfast, and that wasn't the case here today. And again, he just seemed a little bit tired.
Well, it is a 15-hour time difference between here and South Dakota.
Yeah, and
Actually, 13 hours.
I was about to say, yeah, 13 there in Mountain Time, because he did move the purple as intended. Got a little thin on the pink maybe, but I've seen him the last several days, and he looked, to me, much different. Of course, he did come for the parry, so most of these players very acclimated now. Although many did say it took a full week or so to get to that point. That's a nice shot there. It's going to fall a little straight. I think he fell just underneath it.
He's had no issues so far. He beat Win Van Viet 9-3, then Dang Than Kien 9-4, before dispatching Besar Spahiu of Albania 9-2 in winners' qualification. So before this, he'd won 27 racks for the loss of only 9.
Doesn't want to get the heaviest of angles on the 7, but don't threaten bumping the 7 here, going 2 cushions. Yeah, he's going to keep it pretty wide there. And he's going to fall very ideal. Little of that strut we're used to seeing, so maybe trying to wake up a bit. Of course, the break shot usually gets these players going, so if he can get these 3 down, cut the lead in half, and maybe a different SVB than we've seen the first few games.
Always one of my favourites, SVB. Love watching him play. Just got that aura.
Yeah, well, I forget who it was that said it the other day. It was another great player, and they just absolutely kept confirming that. And it was something they had watched here and maybe somewhere else here recently, that SVB is just absolutely the best to ever do it.
And now the great man is on the board. Mickey Krause's lead reduced to 2-1. Imran Majid, one of our guest commentators this week, and Harry Vergara have shared the first 2 racks. The winner of our match will play either Francesco Candela or Luong Doc Tien in the last 32. Candela's made the better start, leading 2-0. David Al-Kadi pulling away from Win Duc Thang. He leads 8-3. Duong Kwok Hwang and Dean Shields, 8 racks each. Dean Shields, not very well known from Northern England, but what a performance this is. And there's a massive crowd around table 11. He's not used to that, and I think he's coping remarkably well. Tyler Steyer, 7-6 up on Patrick Gonzalez. Win Van Huen on the hill against Ismail Kadir at 9-7. Edward Kuyongian of Indonesia on the hill against Roland Garcia at 9-5. And Shane Walford has just taken the first rack from Elliot Sanderson.
Watch out, cue ball. Hit him how he wanted. And the pool gods did not agree. And SVB, I'll tell you, One thing he gets a little disheartened about are those kisses that do produce scratches, but sometimes it creates a golden break, and sometimes the kisses keep the scratches.
I'll tell you something, Jeremy. There's nothing to verify what I'm going to say here. There's nothing scientific, no numbers written down. But throughout the course of this year, I've noticed that he's been very unlucky in that regard. Scratching on breaks. An awful lot.
Yeah, and I think he, mainly just because he's one of the most consistent doing what players are trying to do, draw one rail into the 9. And, you know, whoever devised these great games, that ball on the spot and where it's at, the 9 being there, there's a lot of natural scratches off both sides when you're coming across it. Now, a guy that's had a wonderful year and really obviously a breakout year, but I think we all kind of felt it was going to happen. He's had his struggles this week as well. Played a real great match and a loss yesterday and then got through after that loss, but did feel a little under the weather at times.
Yeah, he started off, he beat Liu Van Viet 9-3. Then an extraordinary contest against Raymond Farian of the Philippines. He won 9-8. Basically, Farian was 8-7 up. Krause resigned to defeat. Farian missed quite an easy 9-ball across the top rail. Krause tidied up and then broke and ran at Hill. But then he lost that cracker to Albert Manis 9-8 before bouncing back to beat one of Vietnam's finest, Nguyen Antoine 9-5 in losers qualification.
Okay, you know, we talked about the tables. Of course, the rail's getting a little bouncy, but sometimes that will work in your favor, and this is certainly a shot like that. When they get a little bouncy, they grab the English a bit more. So he can roll this with just a touch of right and come across and easily get above the 8. When it's real slick, it's hard for that right English to really grab, and you got to play a very touchy shot. He played it that way anyways, didn't really roll the ball, more of a stun.
And that was a big bounce off the second cushion.
Yeah, stuns tend to bounce a bit more, not as much rotation on the cue ball.
Three, 1 to Mickey Krause. You know, we've talked about his wonderful 2024 Krause, and in many ways you can trace it back to what happened at the Bayou State Classic in Louisiana right at the start of the year. He was runner-up there, coincidentally losing in the final to Shane Van Boning. And since then, he's gone on to great things. Last 16 in the UK Open, semi-finalist at the Nightshot Open in Dubai. He won the Mez Bucharest Open in Romania. Obviously, the European Open was the crown jewel, and a recent semi-finalist in the Perry Open. When he won that European Open, in his last 4 matches, he beat, from the final going backwards, Johan Chua, Skylar Woodward, Koping Chung and Albin Auschen.
Well, I think many of us that pay attention and are at these tournaments could see it coming. I always said just don't always watch the wins. Watch some of the losses in the last 2 years. He's lost a lot of close ones against world number 1s, top 5s, you know, in deep situations in the event. So another good thing is, you know, he's all about pool and he's putting in a lot of time, and, you know, that match time is hard to replace. You got to practice, you got to train, but nothing like the real heat.
Our pal and co-commentator Michael McMullen comes out with some great lines occasionally. Well, more than occasionally, quite often. And at the start of this year, I think more from hope and expectation when it was announced that the Mosconi Cup was going to be in Orlando. He said that would be a photo opportunity. Mickey Krause meets Mickey Mouse, and now it's getting very close indeed.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, for years, you know, captains and people beside the captains and really just people involved in pool would think and really kind of wonder who you're going to pick. You don't want to pick a rookie and whatnot, but man, if he didn't make it off points, it'd still be a big consideration for me, because he's really handled the heat in a lot of ways. And you know, there's a lot of guys that have had great experience out of the Mosconi Cup, but no one's been perfect out there. So I think form means a lot, and hunger, you know, someone that wants it, that means just even more.
Getting close to enough points to guarantee a trip to Central Florida to represent Europe for the first time. In the Mosconi, of course, because he will be representing Europe next week in the Reyes.
Yeah, and if he doesn't make it off points, you know, Jason Shaw will be there for Team Europe, and he's the captain, playing captain for Team Europe later in the Mosconi. So he'll get a bit of a look. Now, if you're not up to date on things, watch out. This may fall underneath this ball a bit and get very awkward, kind of from nowhere. But if you're not paying attention, the Hanoi Open is the cutoff for the rankings, so we'll know the third player for each of those teams for the Mosconi Cup, and then the wild cards will be chosen here pretty quickly. Yeah, and that's another thing that's really improved with his game, is taking, you know, what the table gives you, not forcing it there, knowing he's going to have a bit more on the 9.
Very good. He spotted one exceptional 9-ball and a couple of ones that could have been missed. And so Mickey Krause is having the better of the early exchanges. On most of the tables around this arena, it's the latter exchanges. Claudio Cacci 7-6 on Antonius Kakaris. Oscar Dominguez, he's battling for Mosconi Cup inclusion. 8-6 up on Chen Qingju. Jeffrey Ignacio, the great enigma. He's through again. You can't knock that. He's beaten Win Kong Than 10-9. Raymond Farion 2-1 up on Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Copingham 2-0 over Mustafa Alner. Michael Bohannon has taken the first rack from Koping Chung. Jason Shaw can't quite shake off Landon Hollingsworth. It's 9-8 now. And Edward Koyongian has beaten Roland Garcia, doubled up at 10-5. One of the score. Win Van Huyen has beaten Hijmael Kadir 10-7.
What do you feel looking at me? Have you ever met an AI character before? I'm your new AI girlfriend. I'm as emotional as a real person, and sometimes even more understanding. What's it like to interact with me? It's a unique experience. Technological advancements will bring us...
Oh, and this is the big one. Vietnam's number 1, Duong Quoc Quang, is out. Beaten 10-8 by Dean Shields.
Wow, and I don't really know Dean. I asked about him a bit more yesterday. What a win there. And disappointing, of course, for Vietnam to lose their top player. And from what I saw, he had been playing really well. So I think Dean probably just played an exceptional match, and a first big mistake that we've seen here, getting snookered.
Well, in terms of profile and in terms of the crowd size, that's the biggest match that Dean Shields has ever played in his life. And so congratulations to him for coming through. What a test passed.
And you never know where that may lead. Oh, looky here with the curve shot. Gonna get just a little bit of a snooker, I think. You can certainly get at some of it. Is it enough?
Sorry about this, but results are coming in thick and fast. Jason Shaw is through. He's beaten Landon Hollingsworth 10-8.
Well, hats off not only for a competitive match there against one of the best from the youngster, but a really fine tournament. His first single elimination stage in a WNT event, and I think he's only played in 2. I think this he played in the U.S. Open this year, and now the Hanoi Open. A little bit of an awkward shot here. I don't know if he tries to go 2, maybe short side. You don't need a lot with the green 6 over the middle. This is going to land a little thin unless the speed's perfect. Yeah, and he's not going to be happy. I think he can play it. He's going to have to elevate the cue, though, I believe. I don't know if it... Yeah, you can't tell from there, but cue's definitely elevated. Kind of squeezed it home there, Phil.
Yeah, delicacy delivered.
Yeah, what I talked about with Michael earlier, which me and Jason Shaw had a discussion this morning about it prior to his match, that when the rails get a little bouncy, you just got to understand you're not going to play perfect position. It's just not going to happen, and if you start to stress about it, it can really domino. And I think that really helps Mickey. I think Mickey is a guy that isn't afraid to accept more of a shot at times, and he's made a lot of them this year, so why not?
I'm going to tell you a snooker story now. Ronnie O'Sullivan is the greatest player of all time. That's it. No debate. He's the greatest good condition player I've ever seen. But this is the thing. He's the greatest bad table player I've ever seen. Obviously, he likes perfect conditions, but he accepts when a table's not behaving better than anyone. Just gets on with it. And it's, again, about attitude.
Yeah, and, these players train to have good position and whatnot, but, and some players we've talked about before, once they get in position, that's when they become very tough. But sometimes that's just not going to be that week. And it's almost like majors, right, in golf, where all those players say, I know I'm going to make bogeys this week. That's just how it is. And it's much different than when they're on an easy golf course and a bogey really bothers them. But here, they're gonna bounce on you every now and again, or if you flinch on the stroke, you're gonna get out of line a bit more, and just got to get back to, the foundation of the game is still knocking these balls in. May have to go back and forth here. Doesn't really want to fool with the 7 too much, trying to get from the 5 to the 6. Excuse me, the 4 to the 6. I think he's gotten perfect to come one rail between the 7-9. Now, a lot of times there's an option Shane will want to draw the cue ball, which may be the case here.
This match, depending on the way you look at it, it's a pity they've drawn each other so early, but it provides us with a wonderful match at this stage.
Yeah, probably want a little more draw. Now asking for the cue ball to get clean. Doesn't want to kick here. No. He needs to apply a hair of spin one way or another to avoid the 8. I don't think he's going to float it. Yeah, watch out speed. This is going to get a bit more long distance than he desired. But again, like right here is prime. You know, you don't want to let up on that kind of shot. It really makes it missable. You got to go with the stroke you know. It's just going to be a hair more distance at times and maybe something a hair awkward. He's going all the way around here, Michael. I thought he, or excuse me, Phil. I thought he'd stun out of the corner.
In terms of the lively bounces, the chief culprit's on the 2 short rails. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I can't explain it because it's almost always that way, no matter the table.
But Shane Van Boning has coped. He's 4-3. Tell you what's really great. You know, last year we were shocked, weren't we, by the weekend crowds at the Hanoi Open. Estimates 2,500, 3,000 people watched the final. And those estimates were pretty accurate. The crowds for the early stages last year weren't very big at all. This time they've been, well, at least treble what they were last year. So we're expecting a bumper audience for the last couple of days.
Yeah, I've heard already some outstanding numbers of tickets sold for the weekend, and definitely for the final day. I think we'll be right at that same amount as last year, if not more.
Yeah, there was definitely a capacity for more. This National Indoor Sports Gymnasium is a terrific facility.
All right, couple kisses, the blue 2, it's always by itself. That's a good sign. Now Shane is definitely, you know, intentionally taking some speed off. That's why we're not seeing the balls really fly around. Of course, kisses will cause a little more congestion at times. I thought he was going to be able to attack, but the 3's so covered up, I'm not sure that's really an option. All right, is he going with a high ball here? Okay, he's drawing it. So he's trying to hit the numbers perfect out in the middle of the table for that gap between the 4-5. And the 2, nothing easy either. Oh, how good is that? And really with a bit of worry, right? With a little of that bounce off the rail. Trying to shoot the gap on a pretty difficult shot on the blue 2.
モロッコの地震の影響が大きいようですが、どんな状況ですか？
検索対象モロッコの地震。モロッコで発生した地震は同国史上最大の規模で多くの人命や建物に被害をもたらしました。地震の詳細は以下の通りです。地震の規模マグニチュード M6.8。 地震の発生時刻8日午後11時11分、日本時間9日午前7時11分。地震の震源モロッコの観光地マラケシュの南西約72キロ、高アトラス山脈の中に位置する。地震の深さ約 18.5km。 地震の被害少なくとも296人が死亡、153人が負傷。複数の建物が倒壊し、多くの住民が路上で夜を過ごすことを余儀なくされた。マラケシュでは旧市街に密集する民家の一部が崩壊し、救助活動が行われた。 地震はこの地域では異例の強さで、1900年以降同じ範囲内で M6 以上の地震が起きた例はなく、 M5 以上の地震も9回しか起きていないと米地質調査所は述べています。甚大な被害が起きる公算が大きく、惨事が広範囲に及ぶ可能性があると予想されています。モロッコでは現在、救援や復旧に向けた作業が続けられています。被災者や支援者に心からお見舞い申し上げます。
日本への影響はどうですか？
検索対象、モロッコの地震、日本の影響。モロッコの地震は日本に直接的な影響はありませんが、間接的な影響はいくつか考えられます。例えば以下のようなことが挙げられます。モロッコは日本との貿易相手国として重要で、2022年の貿易額は約 1.2 兆円でした。モロッコからの主な輸入品は磷鉱石や石油製品、日本からの主な輸出品は自動車や機械などです。地震による被害がモロッコの経済活動やインフラに影響を与えると、日本との貿易にも支障が出る可能性があります。モロッコは日本人に人気の観光地で、2022年には約9万人の日本人が訪れました。地震の震源地は観光地マラケシュの近くで、旧市街にある民家やホテルなどが被害を受けました。現在モロッコに滞在している日本人や今後訪れる予定の日本人にも注意が必要です。モロッコはアフリカ大陸で最も早く新型コロナウイルスのワクチン接種を進めている国で、2023年9月時点で約6000万回分のワクチンを接種しました。しかし地震によって医療施設や交通機関が損傷した場合、ワクチン接種の遅延や感染拡大のリスクが高まる可能性があります。日本とモロッコは新型コロナウイルス対策で協力関係にあり、両国の感染状況にも影響を及ぼす可能性があります。以上のようにモロッコの地震は日本にも様々な影響を与える可能性があります。モロッコでは現在、救援や復旧に向けた作業が続けられています。被災者や支援者に心からお見舞い申し上げます。
Played it with side and almost missed it, but the three flopped in.
Yeah, I think he may have to play from underneath the purple, or maybe take a hair of a gamble draw on the cue ball. Yeah, that bridge, I know it well. That means he's going forward. He's going to get a little more angle on this than he wanted. That's going to be disappointing. I'll tell you one thing, though. You know, I talked about him at breakfast this morning, and if you watch the last several days, the face to me definitely looks a little more fatigued, even early in the day. But like the break shot gets so many going, and it does with Shane as well, tough shots. If he buries a few tough shots, it really starts to pique his interest in a match even more. He's got to get a little bit of a roll here off a miss.
Not easy, but one that you didn't expect SVB to miss.
Okay, we saw him edge that ball on the 8 earlier. This one's very similar. He's going to go for the 2-rail kick instead. Hard to say anything wrong with this. He just didn't hit it how he wanted. Now, he's left him a shot. There is a little bit of an angle. but not a whole lot of pass to get on the green 6. Pay attention here. Don't let this get away. Don't get over the 9. Okay, he decided to play for a little more cut and secure the cue ball.
The South Dakota kid, now 41 years of age and steeped in experience. He's 2 balls away from recovering from 4-1 down onto level terms.
Oh, that in-rail bounce for sure. You could see it. Now it's gotten him on top of the 9. And you hate to be conscious of it, but that top cushion, I think you got to be a little conscious of it moving forward. Wow, he's going for the cut here.
Much like the wide ball off the 8, Shane Van Boning bouncing back himself. It is 4-4. Great pot on the 9. After what happened the shot previously. Andri Januarta of Indonesia. New name to me, Jeremy. He's 1-0 up on Wang Hung Xiang of Chinese Taipei. Jonas Suto Camino. 2-0 over Bui Truong An. 3-2 for Imran Majid over Harry Vergara. Luong Duc Tien of Vietnam, 3-2 up on Francesco Candela now. Just to repeat, the winner of that match will play the winner of the one we're watching at the moment. David Al-Qaidi is through. It was slow going at times, but he beat Win Duc Thang 10-3. And Patrick Gonzalez of the Philippines is on the hill against Tyler Steyer at 9-7.
Okay, definitely a little speed, but a nice connection. Look at the spread. He's made 2 balls, dressed up on the blue 2. And the name you mentioned there with that report was David Al-Qaidi, and a guy that we don't talk enough about early in the tournaments, it seems like. Just kind of makes his way through these fields a lot of times into the final 32 and 16, and then we talk about it, and he pops up and wins some of them. But just kind of forget his name at times.
Yeah, the man who, like Mickey Krause, is a former European Open champion. Krause, of course, is the reigning European Open champion.
All right, pinched it nicely there. I'm not sure. I think he's perfect, really. Not perfect, but really good. Maybe, sometimes people used to always ask me, when I shoot a shot and I get in position, I'm kind of making a little gesture like I didn't like it. It's not really about the position. I just didn't like the stroke usually I put on the ball, and that may have been the case there.
Not getting down on the shot quite as much as normal because of the the position of the 9, doesn't want to place his clothing over that and give a foul shot away. But it looks like being 4 racks in succession for SVB. It is. From the depths of 4-1 down, he's fought back to take the lead at 5-4. Chen Qingju is fighting back against Oscar Dominguez on table 10. That one is locked together, 8 racks each. Raymond Farian has taken a 5-1 lead over Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. Bernie Regulario and Kuo Po Cheng 1-1. Ko Ping Han, the junior of the 3 co-brothers, 4-0 up on Mustafa Alner. Carlo Biardo 2-1 on Bessa Sparhiu. Shane Walford and Elliot Sanderson, tough one to call that. That's 2-2, as is Ko Ping Chung and Michael Bohannon. And Imran Majid and Harry Vergara now 3-3.
All right, he's got that dialed in, the speed, the ones down. And just look at the spread, though, and that's what I always like, and it really tells a lot about the connection from cue ball to the rack. All right, he's got to cue this with a little inside. I think he avoids the 8, no problem. I don't think he wants to pull this one with low outside. Could come and shoot it with low outside and try to play some type of short side position on the pink with the table so open. That way he feels a little more comfortable about pocketing the blue too. Thick hit there.
Well, even the very best can fall victim to something that happens to every Q Sports player the world over at times. You're concentrating so hard on the positional requirement that you sometimes forget about the pot.
Yeah, and that was all off because he never wanted to go into the purple 5. That would have really made things difficult for the pink. Now, after not really getting much the last few racks, Mickey Krause was up 4-1, lost 4 in a row. Now a chance to tie it. Pretty routine stuff here for him.
This match a lot like the one he had against AJ Manis on this table. Very enjoyable. The racks ticking by quickly.
Oh, watch out for this rail. Definitely has some speed. He never intended to go that far and get that close, but it'll be okay. What he's sizing up now is not really the route, but just making sure he clears his head with the speed. Doesn't want to fall straight on the 8 up table. This may fall a little straight. This rail's going to bounce a little bit. He is off the cushion, which helps. And you can see SVB noticing that quickly.
Well, he manufactured an angle there brilliantly.
Yeah, and kind of slow drew the ball, which is correct if you're going to play it.
We are tied again. I think in this company, given the quality of both players, quite often one mistake in a rack will be decisive, and it was the missed 2-ball. This, the undercut 2-ball from Shane Van Boning, that did for him. And that could be a loss of momentum, let alone loss of rack.
Yeah, and he's breaking the balls very well, SVB, but so is his opponent, Mickey Krause. He's always breaking the balls well, it seems.
Lo Van Swan, who beat Eklund Kachina raced a 9 earlier this week. He's taken the first 2 racks from Loho Sun. Jeffrey Rodder, keep an eye on him. 2-0 up on Michael Feliciano. 3-0 Yonosuke Camino over Bui Trang An. Imran Majid back in front against Harry Vergara at 4-3.
Oh, the cue ball. Okay, it was gone. So sometimes that narrow miss on the one in the side can help you out. That was certainly the case.
Well, he pulled off a intricate break and run out in the first rack.
Yeah, this is funny. I'd love to get that gap between the 8 and 9, just get at a pretty simple 3-7 combination, even if it was from some distance, which I think is the best thing to do. Just draw one rail out and take the shot on the 3. The combo is really not missable. Okay, he decided to stun over. Now a little awkward. I think the cut on the 3 is still there into the brown 7, but the cue ball is going to have a ton of speed. I don't really see too many issues though. Oh, he's playing the kiss shot. I don't know about this, Michael. This could get a little awkward. He's trying to hit it lightly, maybe. Okay.
Twice now you've called me Michael.
That's right. Sorry, I was supposed to be working with Mike all day today, so I had that in my mind. Walked over with him today, and I don't know why that keeps sticking in my head, Phil. Sorry.
I've been called worse.
Yeah.
Much worse.
I used to say in the pool room, call me what you want, just don't call me collect. All right, big shot here. The long ones have been good for Mickey.
The one thing with him, and this is pretty much a given, after what's happened this year, we can say this, I think with total certainty. If he does lose, it's not because of a lack of bottle. He's got plenty.
Yeah, for sure. That's what makes you great in any sport. Got to really kind of thread the needle going into 9 here. Uh-oh, this could be trouble. Ooh, caught the 8, and I don't think that was intended. You would normally never play the shot like that. Another lead change here at 6-5 it should be.
Indeed it is. This could be a very bad round for the last 3 world 9-ball champions. We know about Fedor Gorst. Shane Van Boning now trailing. And Francisco Sanchez Ruiz finds himself 6-1 down to Raymond Farion. Oscar Dominguez on the hill against Chen Qingju at 9-8. Not the first marathon Oscar's been involved in here this week. Kwopo Cheng 2-1 on Bernie Regulario. 6-0 for Coping Hanover Mustafa Alner. Skylar Woodward has taken the first rack from JC Cordova Garcia. AJ Manis and Marvin Assis 1-1. Carlo Biardo 3-2 over Bessos Sparhiu. Elliot Sanderson has the same lead over Shane Walford, as does Koping Chung over Michael Bohannon.
Cue ball. So there's been a kiss that, of course, is going to happen with the cut break. Happens almost every rack, but they both been unfortunate on one.
You know, sometimes you hear commentators on Q Sports say, oh, this has got a deciding frame or a deciding rack written all over it, and how can you possibly say that? But I think there's a likelihood we could go all the way here. Hill.
Okay, you can see the real work just from the 4 to the 5, the green 6 over the left middle, 8 and 9 both up table with it. So besides some crazy miss or out of line position, SVB should get out here. This is fairly ideal. Straight, all he needs is about where the cue ball's at now. Okay, the overhead's telling us that he doesn't have to go into the 9. It's not that much angle, so should stay away from it, you would think anyways. Looks like he's falling pretty straight here though.
It was 4-4, it was 5-5, and now it is 6-6. A match that I think it's fair to say is living up to expectations. Oscar Dominguez still waiting for victory over Chen Jingzhu at 9-8. Same thing for Patrick Gonzalez, 9-8 over Tyler Steyer. Luong Doc Tien, 4-2 up on Francesco Candela. Jonas Suto Camino hasn't lost a rack yet against Bui Truong An. 4-0 up is the young Spaniard. And it's also 4-0 for Jeffrey Rodder over Michael Feliciano. Lo Van Swan of Vietnam. He's 3-0 up on Lo Ho Sum. Eight Americans through to the last 64, Jeremy, which is, I think, a really healthy number. And the man we're watching now is spearheading that challenge.
Yeah, it's no coincidence that those numbers have grown percentage-wise, and of course not as many traveling to this event as we've seen in some of the past, but also some of the ones we didn't expect to make the final 64 maybe. And of course, Max Eberle had a good tournament, suffered a tough loss today against an opponent that was obviously on point, but Landon Hollingsworth making it. Of course, some of your usual suspects as well. All right, big shot. Keep the run going. He's going to get a roll, it looks like, anyways.
Absolutely. And the way the one is nestled up to the 4, this could be really useful.
Yeah, I'm not sure he got the snooker. I guess he did, yep. I was watching Shane when he looked at it, and he kind of shook the head, maybe just shaking the head on the miss. Has he got the short cue out here? Wow, I'd like to see the elevation here. Hard to see from the, yeah, he's way up in the air. And that's because the 4 has gotten a lot of kicks cut off. Wow, what control.
Well, to describe what he could see with the jump of the 1 as a sliver would be a slight exaggeration, but it wasn't a great amount, was it?
No, and to get over the 6 so close, the elevation always shows you how quickly they got to get the cue ball up, and to be able to kind of nip draw it and keep the speed to where the one doesn't get away or the cue ball. Pretty incredible. Is he looking at the kiss shot on the 2? Usually when he stands over the ball like that, those 2 balls, he's trying to gain what he feels like that natural hit angle to come off the 1 with speed and maybe pocket the 2. Yeah, that's what he was trying there. May get another little bit of a roll. No, this one's going to open up, and the 2's over the pocket. There were a lot of safeties there, so he must have really liked it, Phil.
As you say, Jeremy, open table. Not a cluster in sight.
Yeah, besides the cue ball racing around and maybe getting lost, the thin on the 1 is... Oh, he had to bank it. Oh, this is a bit unlucky, but we saw him really good with the jump cue just a couple shots ago. He's going to the air again.
Such an asset. And it seems to me to be a young man's skill.
Yeah, the jump cue's been around for quite a long time, probably about 1990 actually, but the technology and of course the players who they practice it a lot more now, but because the technology leans towards you can do so much more. Not only on the make like on the 2, but we saw the jump safety in a tricky position earlier in this rack. All right, he's let that get away a little bit.
In a match of shifting momentum, Mickey Krause hits the front for the 3rd time. And of course now we're getting quite late. It's 7-6. Tyler Steyer and Patrick Gonzalez. Hill. On table 17, it's 9-9. Same for Oscar Dominguez. He's going all the way against Chen Qingju. Little bit of a comeback to report for Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. He was 6-1 down to Raymond Farian of the Philippines. It's now 6-3. Bernie Regulario 3-2 up on Kwopo Cheng. Koping Han powering on against Mustafa Alner to 7-0. Skylar Woodward, the US Mosconi Cup captain, 2-1 on JC Cordova Garcia. 3-1 for AJ Manis over Marvin Assis. 4-2 for Carlo Biardo over Besar Spahiu. 18 Filipinos in the last 64. Amazing, really.
Well, he definitely has a little of the blue too. I don't know if it's a pocketable look at it, but he's been incredible with the jump cue, but I mean, if the safety option's there, he certainly has the push-out option. Like to just feather this, just kind of rocking it over and using maybe the 9 and the 7, maybe, even if he has to swerve it a bit. And these are kind of like soft safeties. Usually you don't expect any kind of ball in hand, and you may even expect your opponent to return a nice kick safety, but it's usually going to be better than pushing out and giving your opponent the first option. This is where Shane doesn't get enough credit, I think, on the tactical side. This one's going to give up something. Well, maybe not. The pink did come into play. Kind of kicked the 5 over and locked it up on the 7. The 3's already jumbled up a bit. This rack could take a while.
As we talked about earlier, Mickey Krause has already had 2 hill matches in this tournament.
I like the plan. It was always a little bit of a gamble, putting the 2 near the 3, maybe giving up the side pocket and position on the red 3, but he was always just trying to keep that cue ball contained on the top cushion and just kind of take his chances from there. Was he just edging this? Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't say that was by design. I'm not sure exactly what he was trying to do, really. I think he was trying to cut the 3 by the 6 and let it maybe one rail back up near the 6 as he comes across. Now, Shane may play something on the lighter side here if he feels like he can accurately hit an edge of the red 3. Otherwise, just let him rock. Maybe he gets some fortune in some kind of way. You hate to kick at this and just sell out something straight in. Yeah, there's that edge I was talking about. I think it may have coasted by the 4, but that being the cue ball if it didn't catch that point.
I think it's fair to say that while there hasn't been an outrageous amount of luck on either side, what's been going, the majority has been going in the way of Krause. And at this level, it's all about taking advantage of the rolls and the little nudges that make such a massive difference.
Yeah, he's just going to take a little distance here on the purple. Just move over on the left side of the table. Huge shot here.
He's got that shield of confidence. He's full of self-belief. And in situations like this, there is no better attribute.
Yeah, self-belief is a good way to put it, and always talk about with other players, just be concerned with yourself. And of course it's hard to ignore names like SVB and others, but the more you do it, the more you see it is the correct path.
Another attribute, he's not scared of reputation, as he showed in winning the European Open. He respects the top players, but he's not frightened by them. And now Mickey Krause is back 2 in front at 8-6. On table 10, Oscar Dominguez and Chen Qingju still battling away in that deciding rack. So much rests on that for Oscar. Mustafa Alda, who beat Fedor Gorst at the World Championship. He's won his first rack. Ko Ping Han now leads 7-1 there. AJ Manis highly regarded by many, including my co-commentator Jeremy Jones. He's halfway to victory already against Marvin Assis at 5-1. Carlo Biado halfway to victory against Besar Sparhiu at 5-2. And on table 2, you can see that match on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel, of course. Ko Ping Chung taking command against Michael Bohannon at 6-2. One more piece of information to give you as the Krause break continues to work. Tyler Steyer through. Gutsy performance. He was 9-7 down to Patrick Gonzalez, but he's won 10-9.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I think all his hard work is he's developed more of, is that gutsy kind of mentality and never give up. Lost his second match here and had to grind through many tough ones and a couple of real close ones and some comebacks.
Given his dedication, his application, Steyer must be a real consideration for Mosconi Cup wildcard selection, even if he doesn't make the team.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I think Skylar's in a good place with those players that we can narrow it down to for those final one spot or two, depending on how the rankings fall. But, you know, Tyler, you know, in that position trying to be chased by a few players, Skylar, and of course Billy's out, but after that win he had at the Battle of the Bull, he was in consideration to maybe an outside chance of catching on points. And you got Oscar and of course Skylar himself trying to get in that position. Not an easy position to be in because it is late in the day, and you know, if he has a bad loss or something like that, you're wondering, is my captain going to look at that only, since it is kind of a trending sport?
And it's late in the day in this match. And for Shane Van Boning, that doomsday clock might be ticking to midnight, because looks like a break and run out and a 9-6 lead for Mickey Krause. Looks like, and it is. Remember, he trailed 5-4 after being 4-1 up. But that mid-match wobble, it was shrugged off as if to say, that's nothing to worry about, I'll come again. And he has done. Lo Van Swan 3-2 up on Lo Ho Sum. Jeffrey Rodder 5-2 over Michael Feliciano. Andre Janoata of Indonesia 3-1 over Wang Hung Siang. Piers Labutis, consistent campaigner from Lithuania, leads Georgi Georgiev of Bulgaria 2-1. And Jonas Suter Camino having things all his own way, monopolising scoring. He's 6-0 up on Bui Truang An. And on table 10, that decider between Dominguez and Chen continues on.
Well, we talked about it yesterday that really Oscar, I don't know exactly his opponent that well. I have seen him play. Now a dry break, and it looks like the one's going to dress up. Maybe not with the blue 2 there. There is a rail first. So here's your chance if you're SVB. But I wonder, you know, if Oscar makes it to that shot clock round, how much of his play here early has really helped that situation. And to be fair, I mean, if Skylar's looking at some things, you got to wonder if he's thinking the same about later this year in a possible Mosconi Cup for Oscar Dominguez.
Just received news of our next match here on centre stage. It will be the defending champion Jason Shaw against Wang Ming.
All right, an awkward rack near the spot with the 3, 9, and 7. I wouldn't say he's ideal on the 2, but he can get decent position. But the problem is he's got to really advance forward off the 3 to get to the pink 4 easily. And If he's got an angle on the 3 going towards the 9, it could be some kind of trouble.
Our roving reporter Michael McMullen very kindly has just told me what happened in the Oscar Dominguez deciding rack. He had a tricky 9-ball to win it, but Oscar failed to knock it in. And Chen Qingju is through 10-9. Heartbreaking defeat for Oscar Dominguez.
Yeah, with a pretty big lead in that match. Wasn't he like 5-2 or something like that, maybe? I mean, of course, that's just 3 games early for these great players, not that much, but he was looking good. All right, this is the shot. Can he get to the pink? This has got to go a little bit. It's going to just sneak past, and he's close enough to it, even though there's an angle to be able to kill the cue ball. Is he going into the 7 here? Okay. That actually helped things getting from the 6 to the 7 later in the rack. I like that little step of SVB that I just saw. It shows me he's still very interested in trying to make this comeback and steal this match.
Well, of course, this is small beer in terms of comebacks to the one he produced when he won the World Championship in 2022.
Caught a little bit of that side rail there, but the stroke was pretty fluid, which opens the pocket up a bit. May just lay forward here, maybe an inch or so for the 8 in the right middle. Oh, he's going to go for the corner. That's good. Kind of a little in between. I like the corner on this shot myself.
You write this man off at your peril. Van Boning now 2 down with 3 to play. And I think it was really indicative of Mickey Krause's state of mind when he broke off and left that pot on the 1, cushion first. He turned away in disgust. He's well aware the task is far from complete. And let's put it this way, of course, SVB wanted to come in here and win this match 10-0. But if he can come through this and win 10-9, boy, I think he would be very hard to stop going forward.
Yeah, agreed, Phil. And the break has been really good for SVB. The timing has been exceptional. Not unloading on the rack like we're used to seeing, taking a hair off. Of course, you always got to fade the kisses on the cue ball, but that's just part of it. Okay, this is going to open up. And just a perfect angle to slide over between the 5-9 to get this run started.
2 words this week, Jeremy, I've not used. Roadmap. I think this is the closest we've seen. It isn't a classical roadmap, but I think it's a wonderful chance.
Yeah, and you know, just like if it was Mickey shooting for the win, there's never a roadmap when your opponent's on the hill for your tournament life, but Shane is not complaining at the moment.
I think he might have been complaining had the cue ball gone half an inch to the left there, because that was a big bounce again.
Now, does he threaten drawing by this and getting a little awkward? He's got to really maintain here. And that's what I was worried about. He's definitely partially snookered here, and the reason why I was worried about drawing it is because you're trying to hold the angle or somewhat straight so you can get easily on the 6. Now he's got to masse this a bit. This overhead's not showing us, but the cue is elevated. Good stuff there. Okay, this sits pretty nice. Just don't get mental about that top cushion. It's all right. Well, he didn't want to roll it. Got into the ball coming 2 cushions. Probably stuns out for the 9 in the lower left.
Another one is pulled back. A break and run out at a very timely juncture. Mickey Krause's lead reduced to 9-8. When we saw the draw for the last 64, it was almost a given this was going to be on the main table. How could you not put a matchup of this quality centre stage? Sometimes, even with 2 giants of the game, matches don't really fizz, but this one has.
Yeah, and again, Mickey with that dry break had a 3-game lead early in the match at 4-1 before losing that lead at 5-4. A similar situation here at 9-6. It's either going to be the win for him or a loss of 4 in a row again, and SVB takes it down. It's not going to change the break at all. Easy to be a hair more amped up just because you're making this comeback. He's got it on point, and again the 2's kind of by itself up the table, which is exactly what players want to see, with the cue ball hair freed up as well. Now, is the 8 offering somewhat of a big pocket on a super thin cut to the side? I think it is a little bit, meaning you may rub it, so I think we may see a real thin one in the middle here.
Yes, and Van Boening helped, of course, by the fact that 3 is very much in open play also.
Yeah, watch out for the purple. See, there's that rub I was talking about. And not only that, does it make you more comfortable for pocketing the 2, but it really opens up speed control a lot more and the path of the cue ball.
Mickey Krause sitting in his chair, waiting for any eventuality, but also preparing himself for a deciding rack, which of course, given the harsh realities of pool and the winner breaks format, he might not be involved in.
Yeah, but again, you got to do special stuff with these conditions to make these comebacks, even with a winner break format. And tell you, knowing Mickey, he certainly wants to get a shot at this match after getting on the hill and playing beautifully, really. But also at the same time, you know, you may not ask him right after the match if he loses, but I think he's the type that would tell you, hey, I want these big, you know, sit in the middle of the ring and throw big blows at each other with these top players. That's the kind of player I want to be and be involved in.
Yeah, definitely ambitious sort.
Okay, just pay attention to this. It's not about what you want to do. You got plenty of angle to smooth it out to the middle. Easy for SVB at times to overhit a ball. He just kind of likes that a bit.
Oh, it caught that near jaw. It wobbled and wriggled, and finally gravity took its course.
Yeah, I didn't want to jinx him, but I was a little concerned with the bridge, really, after he got up and changed. Just because when you squeeze that cue ball sometimes and you're hitting more speed, you can actually get a little more deflection, you know, with that bit of left English he had on there. So
asking for the cue ball to be cleaned, which would suggest maybe he thought on the previous shot that he had a skid.
Yeah. I mean, there are kicks at firmer speeds, and they're usually overlooked. May have been just for that shot there on the 8. He wanted to make sure he got clean contact.
At 6-6, we said that Hill was a possibility. It's now a certainty. It's now actuality. One rack to decide who goes through, and given the status of the two players involved, this could be a springboard to overall success. That's how important the next rack will be. Shane Van Boening on the comeback trail. So to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. He was 6-1 down to Raymond Farion. It's now 6-4. Mustafa Aldo was 7-0 down to Koping Han. It's 7-3. Skylar Woodward 4-2 up on JC Cordova Garcia. Carlo Biardo 6-2 on Besar Sparhiu. Now though, let's concentrate on this. Can SVB, known for so many revivals in his career, pull off another?
All right, the 1's down, the 2's open again. What's the 3 gonna do? Is it gonna elevate the cue a little bit? No, it hasn't. So SVB has the first look, and ever since the dry break at 9-6, it could be basically a 4 and out with Mickey Krause in the chair.
When he won the World Championship in 2022, he was 7 down with 8 to play against Mika Immonen. 10-3 behind, 1-11-10.
This is awkward, though. He's going to play from underneath, so easy to lose the speed. See, this might bounce a little bit and get a little more thin than he wanted. I don't think safety's an option at this point, Phil. He's going to put it in his own hands. And really look at the table. It's one big shot on the red 3. He hit it sweet. He hit it sweet. Oh, my. Now, did he... We didn't get to look at the track, the cue ball. Did he expect some kind of contact there? Did he just expect the cue ball? I didn't really see the ball bounce off the rail that much. And
well, Krause has shown his jumping skills. What about SVB?
oh, and it's right at Krause, so he'll know it before anyone. He's gonna get a little bit of a roll, it appears, maybe. Just a no, he's got a shot.
What drama here, and it's only the last 64.
Yeah, I'm still wanting to see that 3 ball from a little different camera angle and wondering what went wrong besides just the speed. He's elevated here. He's swerving this. Oh, it's got to go. It's got to go. He's played some thin ones. The thin 9 earlier in the rack was really good. This requires not only a thin hit, but some side spin if he's going to get on the 6. He hit it thick. He hit it thick. The inside spin got a hold of him there. It's easy to let up on it, especially with the ball, the rails bouncing just a hair.
You travel thousands of miles. You're 13 time zones from home. And there Shane Van Boening was inches from defeat. He's still got a job to do.
Yeah, he's usually really good at those types of shots, staying off the cushion. All right, he's going to fall a little straightish here. I don't know. I think we'll get a camera angle from that pocket. We usually do anyways. Show us what he's working with. He's got a little bit of an angle, but when it's hill, seems like none. And it should come up for the side here.
What an absolutely tremendous match. Shane Van Boning has taken the Mickey. Mickey Krause out of the Hanoi Open. He was 9-6 down. Krause broke dry in the 16th rack. He didn't get another shot until the decider. Then he hung the 5. And SVB, what a close shave for the South Dakota kid. He's through by the skin of his teeth. 10-9, really good stuff, and we can expect something similar next up, because going on to the centre stage next for match 3 of the day, it's last 32 action. It is Wang Ming of China taking on the title holder here at the Mansion Sports Hanoi Open, Jason Shaw. Hope to have your company for that when it comes around in what should be a few minutes' time.